Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. My name is Kemuel Van Der Puije, and you're watching the Voice of Africa TV or listening to the Voice of Africa podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. His name is Elorm Beenie. Elorm Beenie is a freelance writer, an artist repertoire, a publicist for celebrated Ghanaian artists like Samini, Edem, and Kaki, and so much more. Wow. So let's get into it. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up?
Well, my childhood growing up, quite an interesting story because I was born into a family of introverts. Everybody's more like, the quiet type. They don't talk, they hardly would, be in public or be in company of people talking. So it was quite phenomenal that I had to come out of that shell. Reflecting on the times I was born in Hope, which is the capital town of Volta region in Ghana. So I was born in Hope, where my basic lifestyle was between one year to 5 years. I was living in a bungalow, and the luxury that comes with living in a bungalow. Then all of a sudden, things changed, and I had to move into the ghetto or move into the slums with my mom. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I was raised by a single mom, I should say. So it's been quite I call it a roller coaster ride because you get to experience the different forms of lifestyle, especially from moving from the bungalow into the ghetto where you know lifestyle changes. There's a lot more, connect with multiple people in the same household. Then also you have to keep up to how best you can, cope with your own privacy. So that's about my basic or my startup years. Then I went to preparatory school, also in Hope, model of schools. Then I went to Kabore School Complex. Kabore School Complex is actually a military school. So I had my basic education from that side, from kindergarten to junior high school. Then I had my secondary school education at Sogakope Senior High, and later went to some journalism school where I went to Choice Radio School where I learned some broadcast and journalism. Then I later went on to Trans Africa University College where I added the freelance bit, and I learned media law and editing as well. So editing in terms of broadcast, how to be an editor for maybe a newspaper or
Right.
an portal. So yes, so that's basically how it's been the journey from my infants to the adulthood. Yes.
Wow. Wow. So are there any role models slash mentors you had that you could tell us about?
Well, role models, trust me, there's a lot. And from time to time, I keep getting, new inspiration from new people. But to start with, my mom has been the first role model for me. And she's still the role model that I look up to all the time because when it comes to top-notch discipline, my mom is a typical example of a disciplinarian parent, from an African setting. So she, I would say, is my first role model. Anytime I need to do something, whether intellectually or academically, she's the one who is always there for me and motivates me and understands me. So I would say my mom makes my first mentor. Then I would go on and mention my Sunday school teacher. She's called, I remember, as Miss Okine. I used to be the very shy guy. Even I can't even look my mom's face in about 5 seconds. I can't. That was how shy I was. But she was able to notice that, and she helped me overcome my shyness by, making sure that I joined the there was a Children's Day activity that goes on in church. So she decided to put me on where she'll give me Bible quotes to read in front of the church, more like poetry recitals. Then I was given roles to play as we're acting like drama series or a play. We're acting plays in church. So all of that helped me overcome, my introvert self. So I was just breaking out of that shell. Then I would also mention one of my primary school teachers, who is called Mr. Kichi. He was very, very instrumental in my career, in my writing career, and everything journalism I'm doing. I think he was the first magic wand that worked on me, because this was a man who early in the morning he will tell you he will be doing the dictation, and the dictation he does, he doesn't even do the dictation from the textbooks. You would have to listen. Yeah, those days he would make sure that everybody is in school before 6 a.m. So you're actually going to listen to the 6 a.m. Yeah, you're going to listen to the 6 a.m. news bulletin on GBC radio. So he would actually pick words from the news bulletin. So after the 6 a.m. news bulletin, that's what he would actually give us and mention as the keywords for us to write. So it actually helped me improve my grammar, my phonetics, and my vocabulary. So that was the very first form of major influence, I would say, I got. And he taught me also that I should stick to the dictionary. Anytime I'm going to bed, I should pick the dictionary and learn a new word from the dictionary. So it actually helped me improve. And then another mentor I would mention is Mr. Dovlo. He was my junior high school teacher. He was also very, very instrumental in my career. He taught English and maths. So he was very keen on how we put words and sentences together. So he was also another influence. And moving on to high school, there was a press and debating club, which actually, even before I come to that, in the year 2000, I think there was a new graphic newspaper called Junior Graphic. I don't know if you still remember that. So Junior Graphic was one of the places where I had to start trying my hands on writing poetry, writing short stories to get published in the newspaper. But unfortunately, none of the articles I wrote to the newspaper got published.
Oh no.
Yeah. But I think that was a moment for me to really encourage myself. So I helped grow myself through the times till I got to senior high school, where fortunately there was a press and debating club. So it was more like a build up on what I started doing from junior high school with the junior graphic to that level. And at the senior high school level, there was every Wednesday we would actually put together newsworthy material and read before the whole school. And there were newspapers to pick entertainment stories and read for the school, things that actually concern the student populace. So it helped groom me, where my predecessors, the president of the club and the vice, helped me hone my craft, and they taught me how to even read news. So I was actually reading news almost every Wednesday in front of the whole school, from first year to third year. So all of that helped me improve and overcome that shyness I had. Then I studied general arts in school. So I read literature, which, opened my mind a lot more as to how best to, write poems, write my sonnets, my quartets, my sextets, and all of that, and make sense. My rhyming scheme, my pan, my alliteration, all the figures of speech, that helped me improve all of that. So whilst I was there, I'm like, yo, I need to be a writer. So that was when I was in high school. That was when I decided to be like, okay, professionally, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So the media side came, and the book writing side also came. So high school actually gave me the platform, because I was reading books. I even have one of the books. Let me just a second. I even have one of the books that I read in school. I can show you. That's Anthills of the Savannah.
Anthills of the Savannah.
Yes, yes. I'm sure if your camera can capture that. By Chino Achebe.
Achebe. Oh,
Yes.
I can't remember there's one book that he wrote that I read. I just
Things
can't
fall
remember the name.
apart. Things fall apart.
Things Fall Apart. Yes, that's the
So,
book.
so yeah,
Wow.
so this was one of the books that I treated in senior high school. I treated Wole Soyinka's, Conji's Harvest. I did another one from Shakespeare. So, these are things that actually helped me hone my craft properly till I got out of school. Then I went to my media training, and all those, catapulted me into what I'm doing. But in 2005, whilst I was still in senior high school, I got connected to Mohammed Mubarak, who is known in showbiz circles as Ras Mubarak. He was by then, one of the key presenters on radio who was presenting reggae and dancehall on Unique 95.7 FM. So he took me on, and he was my godfather, and he taught me how to actually write meaningful stories that fit into current trends, into the online media, so people could actually understand. So before I even went to read about public relations and all of that, he was actually teaching me how to be a PR.
Mm-hmm.
And he had left the radio station. He had resigned, I think, in 2006 2007 thereabout, to study in Oslo, Norway. So I was the one doing his PR jobs here. When he needs to send stories out, sometimes he would write, or sometimes he would give me a heads up. He would give me the lead, and I'll put the stories together for publication in the newspaper or for online portals. And growing up, my form of influence has always been reggae and dancehall. So if you could, if you are somebody who follows me a lot, you know that I'm very biased when it comes to the reggae and dancehall side. So Ras Mubarak actually influenced me from that side from 2004, 2005 thereabout. Then the first artist I got to work with connect with was Stoneboy, 2005. Then in 2000, but 2 years between 2005 and 2007, we haven't met. We were just working online until 2007. We met, and things got better. And around that time too, he moved to Samini's camp, which was the higher grade family. And Samini already, I was working, I was doing stuff for him, just like I was doing for, the reggae dancehall industry, because I found out that our reggae and dancehall industry here, even though people play reggae and dancehall music on radio, our Ghana reggae dancehall artists were not having the voice. They were not so vocal. They were not visible. It was just like one or two people. Back in the days, if you hear a reggae artist coming from Ghana, names you would probably hear would be General Marcus, or Black Prophet, or Original Raskobi, or Shasha Male, or Felix Bell, and who again? The names were very limited, or Rocky Dawuni, the names were very limited. So I'm like, there are more people doing this, but they are not heard out there. So the best I could do was, launch a platform where I can give a voice to these people. So I started off running a blog on MySpace, MySpace.com. Yeah. Yeah. So
do you always have a passion for writing, or is it just something that you developed itself over time?
I would say writing actually is my escape route, because I'm the only child between my parents. So
Okay.
you can understand that I'm my own sibling. So when I need to talk to people in the absence of my mom or anyone, I just talk to myself. So I'd rather put it in writing and refresh my and ponder over it. Then it's like, okay, what I've written on paper is like my sibling talking to me. So I was actually having that conversation with myself. So that actually helped me develop and discover myself as somebody who can sit in the position of a writer. So that's how everything came about. So launching that platform on MySpace, then, because back in the days, it was very expensive to have a website or run a blog. It was very, very expensive. So MySpace created that platform where I would write news articles and publish. Then later on, 2007, thereabout, Facebook became the new thing. So I created a Facebook, and back in those days, there was a space on Facebook where you have the notes. So the notes column was where I operated, and I was actually writing my articles because yes, because I was even writing for some newspapers, but writing for reggae dancehall at the time, it wasn't something that newspapers would see. Not to underrate the reggae dancehall people, or not to see reggae dancehall as a less important thing, but it wasn't vibrant. So most newspapers wouldn't see the need to create a column for somebody to be actually writing that. So I saw the internet space where I could reach to a far more bigger and larger audience outside Ghana. So MySpace and Facebook was a platform I was using. Then along the line, somewhere in 2009, 2010, I had my first website, which was Gamaicans.com. And the name Gamaicans actually was going out of Ghana and Jamaica, because I see Ghana as the lead to Africa, and Jamaica, which is the Caribbean, also was a connect from the other side. So I see myself as a connect between Ghana and Jamaica. So the bond to cement that was pick a name that resonates with both countries or both continents, if you would agree with me. So Gamaicans was the first name I was writing under whilst, doing PR jobs for Samini, for Stoneboy, Edem, then later on in 2011, Kaki came inside the picture. Then after Kaki, I did jobs for, I not directly with artists, some of the artists, not directly with them, but there were concerts or there were campaigns or activations that they needed to do that he had me on. Shows like Sizzla Kalonji in Ghana, I took on that. Anthony B, DeMarco, Busy Signal, Keep Rich, Kerry Hilson coming to Ghana, Bow Wow coming to Ghana. We did stuff on those campaigns. So, it's quite a long list. Yeah, I work with Rocky Dawouni, Grammy nominee Rocky Dawouni, as his official publicist. Grammy winners Morgan Heritage. I am the one who represents them here in Ghana and do their PR jobs for them. Not just Ghana, but West Africa or Africa, if you would put it. So, the list is quite a very tall one. I've done campaigns for Major Lazer and a couple. It's quite a tall list. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Kofi Kinata. Working with Kofi Kinata before he got mainstream, I handled his PR. People like Episode. Worked on Stephanie Benson's project. I still do stuff for her. Who again?
So do you mainly focus on indie artists, or do you do
The thing is, just like the way I operate as a freelance, I don't keep my doors closed. Okay. Whether somebody is an indie or they are assigned acts to a label, I don't mind. Once they need my services and they engage me and they feel, okay, Elorm Beenie is the one we think can do this or that, and I'm available, I just take on that work. So that's how it is. I believe every talent needs to be heard, especially very good talents need to be heard. I don't see why I should close my doors unless I'm very busy or I'm not available. Then I would reconsider. But when I'm available and what the work at hand is good, I jump on it. Just like T-Flow 2017, he was pushing his works. I'm like, yo, bro, how about working with you? And he's like, yo, are you sure? I know you've worked with Kinata. And back in the day, 2015, 2016, people were trying to create some sort of, beef or feud between Kofi Kinata and T-Flow. And
why?
It's a thing. It's a thing that, either fans generate or the media sometimes generate. Yeah,
Okay.
so, and I am not an artist. I don't beef artists. I don't have any problem with an artist unless it comes to that point. So when I told Tifla I wanted to work with him, he was shocked because he knew I was on Kinata's team and I was working with him. So all of a sudden I want to work with him. He didn't believe it. I'm like, yo, bro, I want to work with you. And what I actually wanted to do was I wanted to make people believe that, you know, we need to push talents regardless of which genre they do or which camp they belong. And God being so good, I got on Tiflo's team and his very first album that he put out, the Flow Education album that he put out, I pushed that PR together with the team. He got 3 nominations, and out of the 3 nominations, he won his very first major award, which was Record of the Year at Ghana Music Awards 2018. And before that, Kinata had won about 3 already. So, you know, I wouldn't boast about it. I just feel like it's the works. That's what I am supposed to do. And I'm not the only one. It's a teamwork. But my influence in there, you know, has helped, you know, them get what they got, including Kaki's awards and all of that. My influences are there, you know.
Oh, wow. So this kind of ties into my next question, but what project have you worked on that you've been most passionate about or felt to try?
This is quite big. I think the very first one I would pick would be Kaki, because for a very, very long time, the Ghana music scene hasn't seen a female with that exuberance and style. It was Abriwanana who started that in the 90s. But she was doing it in Tree. And it wasn't that loud. It wasn't that loud outside Ghana, I should say.
Yeah.
She was doing that in the 90s. And in the early 2000s, then we had these ladies, I forgot their name. But one of the ladies from the group is called Shega.
Shega.
Yeah, Shege, but now Shega, called Shege Styler, but now she's called Shega. She belonged to a group, I forgot the name. If the name comes up, I'll mention it. So they were having that raga style. But Kaki came with a more upgraded version of what she was doing. And it was something that we created in-house. Respect to, you know, her former executive producer, JMJ. Shouts to Samini as well, Lingua Cat, and all the other talents who worked around her to blow a bit. On the PR side, I think Kaki's work was quite phenomenal. And it was more of like a make or break, you know, job for me, because I was put on the line that, yo, Elorm, I need to blow this artist within a year. That was what JMJ told me. I quite remember, even I can go back to my messages. It's like, yo, Elorm, I need you to come and do this job. We need to blow this artist within a year. And God being so good, within 4, 5, 6 months, Kaki was already out there. So I think that first one, yes, that very first one is what I think is quite instrumental for me, quite phenomenal. The second one I would pick would be Rocky Dawuni's Branches of the Same Tree album, the one that's got the Grammy nomination. Just when I had moved on from, you know, taking on Kaki's job as a PR into 2015, you know, Rocky Dawuni had put me on from 2014 into 2015. He released the album in 2015. So I worked on that album PR and we generated buzz. God being so good, majority of the efforts came from him, I would say. But Ghana here, I was the one who pushed the album. So down here in Ghana, I worked on that project. But what was phenomenal, what is actually phenomenal about that project for me was I was able to put up a concert, a live concert, not a virtual concert, a live concert for him within 5 days. He wasn't even in Ghana, 5 days. Yes. We played at Alliance Française in December 2015. Within 5 days, all conversations were just based through email. Yes.
Wow.
Within,
You're
Yes.
able to set an entire
Yes.
concert just through email.
Yes. Through email, we were able to set up a show that
That's
happened within 5 days. And
difficult.
we honored about 25 interviews within that 5 days.
Oh my goodness, that sounds difficult. That sounds like a hard, like, I can't even
Yes.
imagine running that past me. That sounds completely difficult to do.
You know, we're all tired at the end of it all, because in between the 5 days, you had to be doing rehearsals and honoring interviews as well. So you can tell how hectic it was.
Mhm.
We're all dehydrated, worn out, but still, at the end of the day, it was a sold out show. And Alliance Française actually says that that was their first major show ever that was sold out in 2015, December 2015. So that was, you know, something that is quite phenomenal for me as well. And the third one I would mention is Morgan Heritage, their Africa Jamaica video shoot. I was down here, you know, I coordinated that project, and within within a week, within 2 weeks, organically, we were able to pull 1 million views on YouTube for the video.
Oh,
Within two, yes, for a veteran group like Morgan Heritage, who are not more like the newbies where, you know, everybody's going gaggagly over them
right.
and doing sponsored adverts. They are veterans. These are people, you know, who have been playing in the 90s, from 1992, 1994. And to have that organic stream within 2 weeks hit 1 million, I think it was quite laudable. And the way the whole video shoot, everything went, shooting in parts of Nima, parts of Tema, parts of Ashama, and the crowd wouldn't allow us shoot and all of that. And everything came out very nicely. That would be my third most interesting job I've worked on, I would say. So those are my top three. The other ones, but these are the top three.
Oh wow, you worked on a lot of things. It just keeps running through back my head, or work or staging an entire show through an email. That, to me,
Yeah,
that's
I think that also is something that our people here are not so familiar with.
Mhm.
People outside Ghana, like you guys in the US or in Europe, you understand the scheme and how things work and the time factor. You respect time factor more and engage more effectively than our people here in Ghana. You could be doing a show with Ghanaian artists based here. It takes you like forever. You keep going back and forth. You driving PR campaigns. It becomes hell. Everything sits on your neck. You have to take the whole mantle alone. And everybody's looking at you. When it fails, it's on your head. But when you succeed, when the project succeeds,
and it's
it's
what
the artist.
yeah.
Yes, no, it's the takes the glory. We've done works for artists. They even go and win awards. They don't even mention our names. Just mention of our names. They don't mention our names. That's
Wow.
how crazy. Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realize how much tech goes into like the technical aspect of putting on a show. That
As I'm talking to you right now, I have about 5 unreleased album PRs that I'm working on currently.
right.
Yeah. So, you know, what people actually see as the end product is just like 20% of the work. 80% of the work is actually done offline or at the back end. I'm always on the road. Every artist I've worked with, whether directly or indirectly, who are in Ghana, if I'm doing my PR campaigns, I'm always on the road with them, unless I am indisposed. All the radio and TV stations will tell you if it's an artist working with Elorm, they are sure that Elorm will be there for the interview. I'm always, so it goes beyond just, you know, getting the hype and the fame, you know.
Yeah.
More like you are growing a culture. I see it as I'm growing a culture, so I need to nurture the baby that I'm growing. If I don't nurture it well, I'm not going to get the influence and legacy I need to leave behind. So I see we are in 2020, right? So that should be like almost 15 years in the game. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not old, trust me.
Well, you've come a long way. I mean, that's crazy. You put in a lot of work. I mean, you certainly deserve what you have. So, when did you start studio work, and who were your early, or what was your early passions and influence?
Okay. With studio work, when they say a producer, people actually think the one who is actually playing the beat or the mixing and mastering engineer is actually the producer. But producer, from what I know and understand, is somebody who is involved in the creative process of any musical work. It could be you changing even a line or a word in the song to make it a buzz. So that way you can be seen as a producer or one of the producers of that creative work.
Oh, so have you ever done something like that with Edem or Kaki?
We always do. We always do from time to time. The very first, I was the reason why producer JMJ or Jam Master J, as you guys know him to
Yeah.
be, the reason why he did the very first rhythm in Africa, not just Ghana. The very first rhythm to come out of Africa was produced by him. Courtesy My Influence. That was in 2009. That was a Trigger rhythm. I'm sure you heard the song, a song by Samini called Trigger. Girl, you sugar, my
Definitely.
right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So that beat, actually Jamaicans, they call a beat that is meant, for multiple people to ride on. They call it a rhythm. So that particular beat or rhythm project was inspired by me, and JMJ actually had people like Iwan, Mugis, Ghetto KB of blessed memory, Zionites, and other artists on that project. So it's been from that time till now in different studios, helping, direct something creatively on an artist album or a song. So we always create from time to time. And 11 years later, we produced the biggest reading project in Africa again last year, December, which was the Rhythm of the Gods project. We produced 32 artists on 34 songs.
Wow.
on 5 different rhythms. Yeah. And the project was supposed to run for to work within a year, but there were delays. We had to stretch the project and make sure we had everything right. It took us almost 2 years to come up with that.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I don't even know what to say to that. That sounds heavy. Sounds heavy. But the second part of your question, what or who was your early passions and influences?
My early passion. Um, would it be fine to mention GTV? Because GTV at the time I was growing up, that was more like the only source of, an upgrade form of showbiz platform that I could reach out to, watching by the fireside, music for dancing feet, um, a call poncho, club pleasure, and all of those things. So I honed my craft whereby I learned how to dance, groove to something, pick inspiration from by the fireside whilst they were acting their scenes and all of that. I pick inspiration from all of those things. So all those things combine to, add up to, what I am now creatively. Yeah.
Okay. So what is it about music or sound that drew you to this position or this field?
Music is medicine. Music is oxygen. Music is like the air we breathe. Can you imagine a world without music?
No, sir, I can't.
Yeah, yeah. Even as I'm talking and you're also talking back, that alone is melody and rhymes, and it can be termed as music. So music is lifestyle, music is life, music is soul food. So it's natural for me to be drawn to it, but passionately, music too is a form of escape route for me, or like my best friend when I need to advise myself or pick some information or grow myself. Music is one of the closest resorts I get to, when I listen to music. And I love to listen to a lot more conscious music and revolutionary music, because that's what, gets me worked up and motivated. Yeah.
Okay. So for most artists, originality is first preceded by a phase of learning and often emulating others. What was it like for you? And what was the relationship between copying and learning from your own creative aspect?
Okay. We all draw inspiration from people or from somebody, you know, just like the disciples of Jesus Christ, they all look up to Jesus so they can actually learn something new and prophesy to people. So I, like I said, I pick inspiration from different types of people. Um, on the large scale, Bob Marley is a big epitome for me, because he was the first musician I can remember I started listening to, courtesy my mom and my uncle. So, you know, that's just about it. But copying is like handpicking somebody's work or creative work verbatim or word for word and putting it out as yours. And I don't subscribe to that. If you have to pick somebody's work and use it on a platform, you have to give credit to the source. But to copy somebody and claim it as yours, I don't subscribe to that culture at all. But learning is where you pick inspiration from people and you create your own self. I read books, like I told you, I have several books that I read from. I have books I read from time to time. I pick inspiration, learn new vocabularies, and I create my own substance. And once you are able to create your own substance, it adds to your originality, because that is the real true you. That is your real true self. So originality stands, as basic for every creative work.
Okay. That sounds really nice. I like that. I like the aspect. I like the mentality behind it, because it seems
Yeah,
like in today's world, most people are more accustomed to stealing other people's and using that
I
as a
because because most of the newbies in the system, they're quick to run for fame instead of run for longevity or legacy. Even in the blog space, you would find a lot of blogs or bloggers, not to downgrade anybody, they would rather pick something that is more traffic worthy and pick traffic instead of finding the substance of what they need to publish. I work with artists, I roll with artists from time to time, almost like every day I'm with one or two artists. So if there's any big secret or any big gossip, I'm the one who has the gossip, but I don't go out there saying things that, you know, for the traffic or to be popular or anything. I keep to substance and standards. There are standards to every job. So if you go as a musician, if you go and copy somebody's work or plagiarize somebody's work without giving credit to them, the copyright laws will deal with you, or the legal structures will have to deal with you, because you are doing that wrongly. It's only nice and good that you go and seek the right process of attaining that. Even the veteran artists also pick inspiration from people. They pick words from other people, or even from folkloric songs and all of that. It's done, it's allowed, but you have to do it the right way. If you don't do it the right way, you're going to get yourself wrong. So that's what has resulted in a lot of, I call it fast food music. There are songs that when you listen, it's just overnight. It doesn't ring it, but it doesn't stay. The
right.
song, no soul, there's no soul in the song. There's no soul and heart in the song. So it's worthless. It's like slack music, slack lyrics all over the place, illusion lyrics, illusion rappers, mambo rappers, and you don't have a thing what they're saying. They're saying things that don't actualize, things that don't relate to real life. It's not realism. So
Right.
if a lot more of artists, not just musicians, but poets, novelists, sculpturists can stick to originality and try and create. There are books that have been there. I have skeletons there for about 10 years. I've not finished them because the inspiration is either not there, or what I need to put in there hasn't come yet. I don't need to rush it and go and copy somebody's work and infuse in mine.
Yeah.
That's a very cheap thing that I won't even value because it's not my original work. So I have to make sure that I create time and space and prove the best or give the best to my audiences. So I don't subscribe to copying people's work or illusion rap or slack lyrics. I don't support those.
So what were some, so with that statement, what were some main challenges and goals when starting out and how they change over time?
One of the main challenge as this is in regards to the blogging space, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in regards to that, starting out as a blogger, one of the challenges you can actually face is deciding on what exactly to write about. You know, to specialize is very important. If you are able to specialize in a field, in my case, like the reggae dancehall field, because that has always been my life from infancy till now. So I understand that space more. So when I'm writing on topics around that area, I'm able to delve in well. So starting up can be difficult if you don't know what exactly to write on, but you have the passion to blog. I have so many youngsters getting up to me and be like, oh, Elorm, I want to be a blogger. What do I do? And you give them options. They are still struggling. But that struggling phase actually is the best phase, I call it. It's the best phase because once you're struggling, you get to know where your stronghold is and you get to know where your weak points are. So I always advise that you stick to where you can flow more easily and fluently. But you don't have to drop your weaknesses as well. You need to carry some part of the weaknesses along to because you need to challenge yourself to become better. So, starting out a blog can actually be challenging, but if you are able to specialize, it helps. Then the second part is getting audiences. You find young people starting a blog and they want to get like, oh, I want 10,000 views, I want 20,000 views, and it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen like that. You need to build a cult following. You need to build an organic following. There are people in Ghana who have blogs and they've done sponsored ads. Sponsored ads are good, no mistake. But they've done sponsored ads and they have people following their pages, people in Japan, people in China. And when they write stuff on their blogs, people from those places can't relate to what they've written. So in reality, you are not actually reaching out. So young blogs actually struggle to get so much following at the start of their career. So it can be challenging. You can write something very good, very organic, vivid content. You won't even get a single like on it. But you think that people are not actually reading or they are not actually patronizing. But most of the time, some of those things are the ones that people actually patronize and view. But the ones that are just trending material, it goes off. But the ones with real substance, that's what people remember. And how do I, they mark you with, they rate your standard with those. So those are the challenge, the two challenging things. And the third one I would add is getting yourself equipped with equipment, getting a laptop or a smartphone that's very workable, getting your camera, your microphone, and all of that. It can be challenging. It can be really, really challenging, in a country where things are quite expensive. And even if you have to ship, equipment from outside, the duty or the taxes that you need to pay on that is quite expensive. Almost every year I spoil an iPhone. Almost every year. My phone is always busy. I wake up to no less than 300 WhatsApp messages. Like, it's crazy like that. And because I'm a publicist, the media needs to get in contact with me. So my number is already out. I don't have a privacy anymore. You are sleeping 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Somebody's calling you, needing some information or something. So it can be crazy that way, yeah.
So how do you advise that we start, like you build a cult following, as you put it?
Yes, and you need to specialize. If you are good at writing sports, go with sports. And even with sports, there are so many disciplines. You have football, you have handball, you have tennis, you have basketball, athletics. So you need to specialize. And once you specialize in a certain area, it gives you the room to operate more fluently and easily.
Okay. So to my next question, what is producing about? Like, what is it compared to, say, like producing your own creative work that makes it interesting for you? Like, what about it? Is it because like you're making it from your own or creating something, or is it?
Yes, indeed. Because once I'm able to create something from my own sweat and toil, it's like you working at a company where you get paid for your services, your input. You know, that's your worth. Even if it's a $1 bill or a one CD, you value that. But if it's just money from somewhere that jumps into your pocket, the value you place on that is far, far less than what you earn yourself. So your ability to write or create something that's worthwhile, you value it more than something that is just copied from somewhere and pasted just to look nice before public. So no matter what it takes, I love to write my own content, you know, and take the glory for that instead of pick somebody's work and pretend it's mine. And
Right.
it's different. So with our blogs, sometimes there are press releases that come across. So at different artists or different PR send their press releases from different angles that you need to publish on your blog. But what happens is when you publish those, you need to highlight and credit people so they know that, okay, this is actually the source. But some wouldn't do it, especially when it's a story that is so good and brings them that good traffic. They want to claim the story instead of give credit to the source. That's what some people do.
That's still shocking. I just don't like, you know, because people can refer back to it. I just don't know why people don't give people credit where it's due. That's something that needs to be.
In my case, credit is something that I love to do a lot because in very, very dangerous cases where there's a story sent or submitted to your blog is actually a false publication or a false story. Crediting your source is actually an escape route for you.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you don't credit a source and there's a problem with a story that you picked from somewhere and published, the law will deal with you. And you can't go back and reference the source because you didn't include that in the first place. And maybe the source can even deny doing, having that because you didn't submit that in the first place. So for me, crediting source is one thing I revere a lot. When you visit my blog, beaniewords.com, I make sure things that are not written by me, I credit the source. I try most of the time. And I don't do controversies. People will tell you, my 15 years blogging career, I've not done controversies. And I don't do fake stories either. If
Is
it's not true,
a particular reason why you don't do controversies?
because I'm supposed to promote. So if I'm promoting falsehood or I'm promoting spoof, I'm misleading people. And I don't intend to mislead people. That's not how I want to grow my brand. So I don't see myself writing spoof material or misleading people just to get buzz or get traffic. I don't see myself doing that. There were times people come across, even recently, there was one artist who wants me to write something funny. I'm like, yo, I won't do it. That is not my brand. You can do it with other blogs, but it's my blog, or you want me to push it, I won't push it because that is not my style. And audiences that I've had over the past 10 years and more who know that I don't do that, if all of a sudden they see me writing that, they'll be disappointed. And it means that I'm losing that fan base or that following. So no matter how big a story is, if it's not true, or even if it's true and I don't have full details or good evidence, I'm not touching it.
Right, because it seems like today most like journalists, most journalistic shows or like blogs, most people are more into the gotcha part of the journalism as opposed to putting out objective statements and saying, hey, this is what is and what isn't. They just want something that could build more traffic. And
Yeah.
I applaud you. I commend you for being as objective as you can with your platform.
Yes, and honestly, for me, I don't. The thing about some of these blogs are because they depend on Google AdSense to make their profit. I don't depend solely on Google AdSense to make my returns. I make sure I have real-time clients, real clients. So I have an engagement with them, I have contracts with them, or I do business with them on a one-to-one basis instead of depending solely on Google AdSense. So whether my story generates 20,000 views or 100 views or just one view, I don't mind because I'm not depending solely on that. Then again, the most important thing is I see myself as growing a culture. I'm growing a legacy. Let me just take from 2010 till now, a space of 10 years. Am I allowed to boast a bit?
Oh, sure. Feel free.
Yeah. If there's any reggae show that is coming to Ghana or any dancehall show that's coming to Ghana, my name comes up. Why? Because they know that's where I represent and that's what I defend. Even if they won't work with me, my name comes up. So that's the culture I want to grow. That's what I want to be identified with. I have to be a brand that when you mention reggae, you have to mention Bob Marley. That's how I'm growing my culture. When you mention Ghana, you have to mention Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. That's remembered. So it's more of, a legacy thing and growing a culture and growing a mindset. If I'm taking a brand like the Voice of Africa, apart from the team's own projections, I make my own personal projections about the brand. Okay, if I'm growing the Voice of Africa in the next year or in the next 5 years, how do I want the brand to stand out? How do I want the brand to look like in the eyes of people? So for my blog, for example, beaniewords.com, I've grown the platform in a sense that if you need content, real-time content to curate for your own blog or for your own radio or TV show, my platform gives you the opportunity to actually get some detailed content or some, authentic material that you can work with. So I've become more like a resource person. That's, I would say.
Okay. Well, being a publicist, how would you define the job and describe the influence of a PR specialist?
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Most often than not, people try to, would I say, confuse the publicist role for a blogger. The blogger is just writing or feeding content into a blog, but the publicist actually is the one who operates within a company or within a brand. It can be an artist, it can be a company. So the PR actually is the one that is like the liaison officer who is coordinating information flow from the brand or the company to their audiences and taking the same information from the audiences or the media back to the brand or back to the company. So I do that and I do the blogging as well. And in my area, it can be very, very challenging where sometimes like I'm telling you that I'm working on albums right now. I need to go ahead of time and travel ahead of time and make projections. All right, if the album is having 5 songs, how am I going to pitch the 5 songs? Which song do I need to pitch first? And pitching the first song, what strategy do I need to put in place? What if the strategy I'm putting in place backfires? What is the next plan? So it's more of, a thought through process ahead of time that you actually do. So it's quite challenging, especially for first-time clients who haven't worked with you before. If you are working on their campaigns and unfortunately for you, they don't get the results that you tell them you're going to prove or they want to see, it can be very frustrating because that's like a low bar or you've scored a lower mark. So
Right.
you're always on the edge of proving the best. You can't take substandard or you can't take mediocrity on the job. You always have to live up to task. So it's challenging putting, strategies together to run a PR campaign. Then teamwork, because you are the one revolving content, circulating content and managing the content, their inflow and outflow. If you don't have a very proactive team or a very proactive artist that you are working with who actually understands and matches up to energy, it's very stressful, mentally stressful, physically stressful, psychologically stressful. So teamwork is one key factor. If it doesn't go your way, it can be very, very challenging. Then equipment. If you are not well equipped, that can also be a very, very big factor that hinders the progress of the work. And when I mean not being equipped, it's not only equipment that you need information. Sometimes there are artists who go into studio and record a song and just throw the song to you and leave it to you. Elorm, let's release. Or when do you think we can release? At least I need some background information on why the song came about, why you decided to go the direction, and it gives me some lead or clue as to how best I can also repackage that and give it to the audiences or the media. So if you're not equipped with this information, or the brands you work with are not effective with the information flow, it can be very, very challenging. You book interviews, sometimes artists don't turn up, their phones are off, they come late, and you have to stand in and face the media and take all the bashing. You have to do damage control all the time. And in my case, it's very, very hectic because I work with lots of artists. So let's say artist A messes up with 3 media houses. It means that when I'm working with artist B, those 3 media houses that we've messed with, they are looking into my face. So it's going to be difficult for me to get through again with artist B because of what artist A has done. So in my case, it's very, very challenging. And I don't fight the media. I critique, but I don't fight the media because we all need each other. So
Yeah.
if I'm fighting my left hand, how can the left hand wash the right hand? Or if my left hand is fighting the right hand, how can the right hand wash the left? So it's like that. When we have issues, we just settle our differences and move on.
So you've spoken a lot about what you do, and we just thought it'd be cool if we had a little bit more insight as to how your day goes. So is there, could you tell us or take us through your daily schedule or from your
Wow.
routine?
Okay, let me take it on a busy day, right?
Okay.
So on a busy day, a day where I'm very engaged, I can wake up as early as 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m.
Okay. Wow.
Sometimes I don't sleep at all because I need to be up working. And the next morning, our very first interview is on a TV station that's going live 6 a.m. or you have a radio show that's going as early as 6, 7 a.m. And with the traffic in Accra, you can't afford, killing time or being reluctant. So you need to move. So first of all, I wake up that early. The first few things I need to post on my blog before I move out of the house, I do that. Or the emails I need to respond to before I move out of the house, I do that. Then I get on the road. Some of the works, I need to do it from my phone. That's why, you need a phone that actually is a multi-purpose phone that can help you work on the go. Thank God we have iPhones. They help us more.
Like Samsung? You don't like Samsungs?
I like, but I'm biased towards iPhones or iOS gadgets.
Wow.
Because
my brother's gonna be so happy. We always argue about iPhone and Samsungs.
I know. There are a lot of people who perhaps when they listen to this podcast and they hear me talking about this, they'll cringe and bash me. But I still have a very soft spot for iOS gadgets because they help me with my work more effectively. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes it can be crazy. I can do about not less than, on a busy day, I don't do less than 5 interviews.
Wow.
Not less than 5. Sometimes it can extend into about 7, 8, 9, or 10 in a day. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. TV, radio, online combined. So it can be crazy like that. Sometimes I don't get home till like midnight.
Jeez.
Sometimes I don't even come home. You are in town working for like 2, 3 days before you get back home. So I have spare clothes in my backpack. I have my but I'll have my toothbrush and my sponge bag in my bag. So when you need to work, when you need to move around and work, sometimes it can be crazy like that. So, and sometimes I need to travel out of Accra. You're on the road working outside Accra 3 days, 1 week, or even more. So doing campaigns all over, traveling across Ghana.
So, wow. So how does your life and your creative space and your work feed back into each other? Do you
Trust.
separate them, or do you blend or try to blend them as
I don't even have a private life anymore. It's like my whole life is like showbiz.
just work? Oh,
Yeah. My family keeps screaming, "Yo, you don't have time for yourself." Like, it's that crazy. But thank God, I try to manage in between all of that. You know, take care of my mom, my little boy. I have a son, so I try to take care of him, do some small babysitting before I need to run away. So it can be crazy, trust me. Sometimes I don't even have time to make my own laundry, so it gets piled up on the weekend, or I'm on the road traveling when I come back before I am able to make my laundry.
wow. So,
Most of the time I skip breakfast, to the point it was having some serious health implications on me. I had to go to the hospital. I broke down. I had to correct that. It took me about 5 years to correct that.
wow.
And just yesterday, I was at my doctor's and he told me my health has improved. Only my water intake is bad. So yeah, so, yeah. And I don't joke with my health issues as well. When it comes to like seeing my doctor, I make sure I see my doctor, whether I'm sick or not, twice every year. I make sure I see my doctor, because life is the most expensive thing.
Yes, sir.
Nothing is more expensive than life. So just yesterday, I went to see my doctor and he was like, "Yo, Elorm, you're looking good. You've been taking good care of yourself." I did my full body count. My blood levels were good. My sugar levels were good. I've been smiling through yesterday till today. So
Thank God. Thank God.
yeah, it's challenging.
Yes. So do you
Yeah.
still work, do you still work as tunnel vision as you did back then, or have you taken a step back and have,
I think it's more now than before, but less movements for me now than I used to. Because at first I used to be all over the place, trust me. But now I've limited my movements, because I need to take care of me. I need to take care of my health. But the work I'm doing now is more involving than before, in terms of, the back end jobs. What I'm doing now is a lot more doing building campaigns and thinking through ideas, listening to albums. You have to listen to one album about 5 times before you are able to even start, putting together a PR campaign. So it can be hectic sitting at one place for a very long time.
Mhm.
Your butt hurts, your back hurts, you know. It's crazy.
So what inspires you to keep doing this? Like, what inspires you to write? What inspires you to publish? And do you have a muse? Is there something that just drives you to keep doing this?
I think we are all artists in life, and your life is like a beautiful picture or an ugly picture you're painting, depending on how you paint that. So if I'm painting a picture for the world to see, I have to make sure I bring out the best. So every second is an opportunity for me to outlive myself. My muse, my escape route, I think, thank God for yoga, meditation. I do that a lot. And I love to spend a lot of time with myself. I don't care who you are. If I need my me time, I need my me time. And I love to have my me time. The more I have my me time, I'm able to think through things, refresh my mind, and understand me more. Yeah.
Okay. So, what motivated you to write Love Myelitis?
Aha, I got you right there. You got the title wrong.
Oh, no, I went over it. I thought I had it. Can you
Yeah. And truth be told, that's one of the reasons why I chose that title. It's one of the techniques I use to pick that title, because mentioning the book title is
crucial? Sorry, did you freeze?
quite a mouthful.
I think we froze for a second.
Sorry, that was my mom calling me again.
Oh.
Yeah. So what I do is what was I even talking about? About the book, right? Yes. So it's actually Love Myelitis.
Myelitis.
Yes. And the second part of the book was picked from a reggae song and an illness. I don't know if you know about Peter Tosh, the reggae artist Peter Tosh. He actually made a song that he's suffering from reggae myelitis. That means he's so infused, he's so passionate about reggae that it's more like a sickness to him. It has paralyzed him. He can't say no to reggae. So I'm like, okay, when one person falls in love, it's the same thing. You get so involved in love with your partner that you don't even think outside the box. When people are advising you, you don't hear anything until it breaks you down. So that's where I got the myelitis from. And myelitis actually is a Greek word. It's a two Greek word combination taken from myelo and itis. And myelo actually is the spine or the cerebral structure of any framework. That is myelo. In Greek, it means myelo. And itis is the inflammation of something. So inflammation of the spine or the inflammation of the inflammation of the cerebral system is what is called myelitis. So in this case, I'm trying to say that you are love sick, or love actually broke you down. So if you take a read through the book, at the end of the book, I had some crazy broken heart. So everything was going into all of that. And when you say love, even a small child can mention love. They can pronounce that. It's easy for a kindergarten child jigs. I don't know why people keep calling into this interview. It's easy for a child to mention love, and it's the same way it's easy for anyone to fall in love. So falling in love is very easy. It's the easiest thing for anybody to do. But to maintain love or even continue is where it becomes problematic. And the problematic side is actually the second part of my book title, which is the myelitis, where people, when they want to pronounce it just like you did, they get it wrongly. So it's just like trying to nurture love and maintain it is a very difficult task. So that's why I came about the book title, Love Myelitis. And I actually wrote the book out of frustration. It wasn't even, yes, I was frustrated and I decided to write.
And what you frustrated with?
I was frustrated because I lost out on love and I decided to put it in a book.
Okay, I apologize if I brought any bad memories. I didn't.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Are you content with your life or with your title that you hold now, or is there still more personal growth?
I have life. I am content. But with my achievements, I think there's a million and more to do. So I wouldn't let my past glories get to my head. or I wouldn't say because I was able to do this or do that, I'll limit myself to that. There's a lot more that needs to be achieved. So I give thanks for the best things that have happened to me already, or the successes that I've been able to chalk. But I think there's a lot more ahead that I need to do. So I'm more focused on those. The ones that I've already achieved, they are history now. They are in the archives and they are reference points for people. But the ones ahead, those are the very, very important ones I need to tackle. So I'm bent on the future.
So how do you wish to see the future in the media industry in Africa? How do you wish to see these problems resolved?
In this recent wake of global protests for Black Lives Matter and everything, I am somebody who believes in egalitarianism, or I'm an egalitarian. It's basically somebody who believes in the equality of people, even though realistically it's difficult to have people having equal schemes or equal forms of liberty. But I'm somebody who believes in that school of thought that, all humans need to live in unity or unison. I believe strongly in that. So from that mindset, I believe the media scope in Ghana and Africa, the future for it is, we have more international connect, international synchronicity, where we all are able to operate freely without, any bad or negative thoughts or struggle, even though that might come with a job. But I want that free flow or free press flow, within the Ghanaian and the African space, I should say.
Okay, and these are our last two questions. How can the Voice of Africa support and contribute to your causes? And do you have any advice for any young kids following in your footsteps?
Okay, for support from Voice of Africa, I'm just about moving into my next phase of life where I want to be a biographer, because if I die, I want to be remembered as a biographer or an author. The PR jobs and the producing is just one side of me, but I'll be very grateful if I die a known author, especially a biographer. So you know that I write books. I published one. There's more coming up in the next few months or year. I should hit you guys with another book or so.
Oh,
So,
sure. Yes, yeah.
so just make sure that the world out there patronize my works, my creative works, my books. They buy my books and engage me more. Patronize my blog, beaniewords.com. Beanie as in BWE. Sorry, Beanie Words as in BEENIE. Then words WORDS. BEENIWORDS. Beaniewords.com. So they can log on and check our interface and how our blog structure is there. So that's just about it.
And yeah, I think we can help with the publishing side. We do have Nabern. It's a publishing company that we set up, and I think we could help with your book publishment. But also, do you have any advice?
Because in recent times, it's difficult having trustworthy publishers. So even my first book, I did a self-publishing. So if I'm having a problem, I can easily pull my things out because I still have my book in my abode as my intellectual property. So I'm open to options. If there are other publishers or platforms there, bookstores, who give me a better deal than what I'm enjoying now, why not? I'll move there. So I'm a businessman, so I'll move there. So that's just about it.
Okay. Then the last question: do you have any advice for children who are pursuing this field as well?
Number one, chase truth and be factual. Whatever you're writing or vlogging, whatever, be factual. It should be based on truth. If it's not true, it's not. If it's not true, please don't put it out, because we've seen countries where journalism or the media cause genocides. Rwanda is a good case. I don't want that to happen in Ghana. I don't want that to happen in any African country. I don't want that to happen in any European or American territory. So truth, we should be guided by truth. We should be guided by honesty, and they should have a journalistic background. Even if you've not gone to a journalism school, there's so many things you can learn online. Google and YouTube. I say in these times, Google and YouTube seem to be our immediate teachers. Anything you don't know or you want to understand, there are so many options you can find on YouTube and Google. They'll teach you. So learn, have an idea of how journalism works, because having an idea about the journalism field actually helps your blogging career, because it's everything media. And learn about media law, the ethics, and all the things that come with it, because it equips you to run a proper blog or run a good, media company, I would say.
Okay, well, thank you. That seems to be all of our questions. Thank you for being here with us.